Go ahead, Dee.
Okay, I'm one of the I'm one of the I'm the bra burner, you know, the whole 9 yards. And I kind of have maybe a little bit of a tube, because I'm very independent, and as far as men go, I love them as friends, but that's about it.
I know you're good.
Yeah, but I got free birth control back in the 60s, which birth control back then was not very reliable. But today's birth control is pretty reliable. And my daughter got the Depo shot when she was like 19, and she got it free at the health clinic. Now, that works because you don't make a uterine lining. You cannot get pregnant without a uterine lining. And my question to you is, where do the Marxist feminists stand on educating more women to birth control as opposed to abortion?
Oh yeah, definitely. Birth control was implemented and was free, quality birth control that actually worked. Abortion rates would go down because a lot of women that can't afford insurance can't get birth control covered, so they can't afford birth control, so they have to go to an abortion clinic if they have an unwanted or planned pregnancy. So we don't, because abortions are very invasive to women, they're very uncomfortable for women. Most women do not want to get an abortion, they have to. But if we had birth control and prevented the whole pregnancy before it happens, she wouldn't have to go to the abortion clinic.
Every county health system in America has birth control for women.
Yes, but it's a nightmare to go to.
Right. They can't afford insurance is another thing. Like if they can't afford insurance, they don't get birth control coverage for that.
Yeah, I'm talking about the county health system.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to point out is there's actually a medicine on the market for men to get a shot that will do nothing to their health, no detrimental to their health, whereas women, we can't produce a uterine lining, which is kind of natural, we kind of need that there. Because there's a shot that you can give to men, and it lasts for 10 years. And it's completely irreversible at any time if they decide that they want a family.
Really?
You
said irreversible? The opposite of what it is. Is that when plastic or whatever, that deference or whatever?
It originated in India?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's not going to be on the market. It's easier and more profitable to charge a woman monthly for this pill or even a shot. So.
This whole abortion thing is a red herring, and the reason I say that is that when people are anti-abortion, quote unquote, they're anti-anything to do with women. Okay? Here's the thing. Viagra is paid for by health care, but we're all fighting about a 50-cent pill. Okay, Viagra costs $15 a pill.
Right.
That's covered, but the 10-cent pill is not. And here's the thing. You can close down all the abortion clinics. When they get done with that, they will get the prophylactics off the shelves. They will get everything. Okay, it doesn't stop. Believe me. Okay, and so this whole lot. If you don't believe this, RU-286 has been around for how many years? Okay, all right, for a long, long time. It's a pill that you take. Is the morning after pill the same thing as RU-286? It's slightly different, isn't it?
RU-46.
Okay.
Now vending machines in colleges.
Yeah.
Right. So the abortion thing is a joke because what it really is all about is an anti-women movement. And what is always shocking to me in a place like Alabama, since now I'm a new citizen, okay, is that you have the majority of women in Alabama, wealthy women, that are not out there on the streets saying this has got to stop. And the thing is, the abortion clinics, quote unquote, are not about abortion. They're about health care. Okay? It is about health care. In a state where the infant mortality is higher than Haiti. Okay, we have the highest infant mortality in the United States. And in some cases, we're 50th or 60th in the world. Okay? It's the health of women, it's the health of children. Okay? And that's not being dealt with.
Is
interesting, I had never heard of this pill from them, but the girls who, that women are taking are absolutely ruining their health because you know how many cesareans are finding for women. Why in the world? I mean, all of my granddaughters are having to have a cesarean operation because they've been on birth control, and it's not normal to have that cycle interrupted every month. So, I mean, that's a real health issue because it affects every girl who's trying to not have children until they're ready.
That brings up another good subject about the maternity industry of the whole C-section. They're always putting all these, that push you into labor. Yeah, all the messages that are pushing you into labor when, like, an actual childbirth is supposed to take hours, but the hospital industry wants to make more money, wants to have more customers. So they do C-sections, which is really fast, and they do all these medicines that are not good for you, and you're detached from the whole birthing process, which is natural.
I'd like to move the conversation back to your topic, which is feminism. And I found what you had to say very interesting, and I think you're a delightful young feminist, and we're all, those of us who are older, delightful older feminists.
The key word is delightful.
Yeah, delightful.
really pleased when any young woman has the topic, because a lot of us are going, where are the young women in the feminist movement? It's shocking what's going on in our country. Where are the young feminists? So we applaud you for that. One thing I think interesting in your speech is kind of the idea of, you know, we did in order to cure things, and those of us who've been on the front line of the battle and been there for so long, we reflect on our sister feminists from many ages, you know, from the time of the 1800s where women were property and couldn't own property, and then women stood up, and then, you know, that stopped. From the time in the early 20s when the flapper girls had the nerve to do what they did, and the suffragettes followed, and then the women had to vote. And then from the terrible aspects of the country depression and poverty being taken on by women, and things changing there. From those Rosie Riveter girls who said, I don't think we need to give up our job, you know, and change the whole working world for women. We kind of skipped over an important part of feminism, I think, and that was the 60s. There was a whole bunch of us here who went through the feminism in the 60s, where the feminism really got a kick in the female butt anyway, and moved forward. The women there through the 60s and 70s really took a lot of issues on. I can remember when we started one of the first national organization for women's chapters in Mississippi, there were no battered women's shelters. And 3 years later, we had 5. You know, so they make a difference. I don't think it's the concept of, you know, they're not doing enough or they're not doing something. It's just that we all want things to move forward faster than they are. But things have moved forward significantly over the decades and years. But now the frustration is that they're not moving as forward and they're going backward. And so I think, you know, feminists of all types, and that would include feminist consciousness and male feminists, need to come back out of their sleep and join with young feminists and say, we're not going to go quietly and unite on these issues, and take back the Congress and say, this war on women? No, that's not going to happen. So thank you for being part of that.
Just a couple of brief comments about maybe going forward instead of backwards. This last week in Congress, I won't mention which party, but 2 members of Congress, one of them said that rape in the military shouldn't be prosecuted because young men are at the peak of their hormones.
You're disgusting.
No. And the second comment was that feminism is against nature because men were by nature designed to be dominant. Yep, special hearing. Add to that, that I'm a contributing member of Emirates List. Good for you.
Hi, I'm Sam. First of all, I just wanted to
That was rest in front of the camera for Mark.
first of all, I wanted to say that I really enjoyed your talk. I really liked how well organized it was. It makes it very easy to think about. And my question is, do you think that the foundation of women's rights is human rights and equal human rights? And if so, what would that look like under global state Marxism?
It looked like human rights, that everyone would have the equal opportunities, and like, okay, under the socialism tomorrow, the men that have been conditioned to think that they're dominant, like these people that are making these disgusting comments, their mind isn't going to change overnight. So when we talk about a demand for global equality, there's all these sticky layers that go underneath it of the transition of how to fade out those people that are making all these, rude comments, because the consciousness of the mind is not going to change. So it would look like a adjustment phase, I guess is my way to answer your question. But it would be a permanent revolution, is what Trotsky always called it, and I'm not talking about a violent revolution per se, but a permanent demand to always fight the oppressors, to always push back the people that have created this sexism to begin with. But the goal, of course, is our hippie commune, communist, classless, moneyless. That's our goal. But we understand that that's utopian, and we have to take direct measures and steps to get there. Does that answer it, or what?
Yes, definitely.
There's a lot. We could go for days.
I was just going to ask, how much have you studied the history of socialist changes, of Marxist socialist changes, where people have actually tried to do it?
The failed revolution.
The failed, right.
Yeah.
Because it does it, because human nature prevents it from ever happening, like you were saying. It's a utopian idea. Because if you gave everybody in the world exact same amount of money, people within a lifetime, those who have the money now will have the money then.
Exactly.
How to change people's minds and attitudes, I certainly agree with that. But as far as who has what, it's just going to almost always be that.
Take a look at Sweden.
And that's just me.
Well, to answer your question, I've been studying, I'm coming up on my year, so I've been studying for about a year. I've done a couple of lead-offs on the failed revolutions to the fourth worker state, and it really, and we study these so we don't make the same mistakes. And again, it wouldn't be everyone having the same amount of money tomorrow in a socialist world. It would be, higher taxes on the rich and, public funding of the public ownership of the CEOs. So instead of stealing all the money from the rich and giving everybody the same money, that would outrage the capitalists. They wouldn't let it happen. Yeah.
They won't want it anyway, they get it back.
They beat up people's
Yeah, that's
back.
not going to happen. Yeah, so that's a permanent revolution.
Yeah.
Right. And it won't happen under a capitalist system. That's why we have to dismantle the whole system in general, because they will take the money back if we keep the powers that be. Like the state, like there's something called State Revolution by Lenin, and in order to avoid what you're talking about, the state capitalists, the police, it all has to be transformed. I mean, I could stand up here for 8 hours talking about the whole stickiness of it, but
I wore mine loose in time because I think that one thing we have to give credit to is to those who came before us. My parents, my grandparents would never have used the word feminist. My grandmother went to college in the early 20s, which women didn't do. When my grandfather was very ill, they moved to Minneapolis. He couldn't work. She went to the job. She went to whatever the largest department store chain in Minneapolis is, and applied for a job. There was a job posting for a buyer for women's clothing. And she went for the interview, and the men said, "Oh, we have no intention of hiring a woman." And my dear grandmother said, "Why'd you post it in the paper if you're not going to consider it?" She said, I have to look at ask you one question. All of you go home and ask your wives, who's a better buyer for women's clothing? Me or some guy? She got the job. She always worked. I have no memory of my mother not working full time. I do remember my younger brother in grade school turning to us, "You mean your mother doesn't work?" He was like feeling sorry for people who were staying home. My mother always had a job. She started selling real estate, and she did other things. In World War II, she became a real estate broker. And she had to go before the Texas law and have what you call your disabilities removed. This meant you're a woman. Because joint property, if you're married, they didn't want to deal with you because you were involved into what you hadn't handled, he also has responsibility for it. So my father would never have thought of it. He was, look to the right of the tail of the hunt in many ways, but in truth, he always supported this. So sometimes you're a feminist, but not in name. We didn't know. So we need to thank these people.
I'm not really sure what happened after the 60s, but I mean, we really have taken a step back.
Yeah.
And I see a lot today, a lot of young girls let a man define who they are, and that's very saddening to me. I was very, very active in the 60s, and I was one of the first people to bring a lawsuit against Brooklyn Air Force Base against sexual harassment. And it was definitely swept under the carpet, but I still stood up and said, this is not going to happen to me in this workplace. And I became kind of like, people would look at me and go,
Yeah.
because it was like I was at fault.
You were the troublemaker, right? You were the troublemaker.
Yeah.
Didn't you ask for it?
I certainly did. I had a great ass back then. And obviously this old man, 40, thought it was great too, and he wouldn't leave me alone. So
You have a great ass today.
a great big ass. But that just, I just think we need to get more young people involved, because I just see it. It's just breaking my heart that the girls that are being defined by their men, and letting them think that they can just. Something's got to be done.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to get a movement going.
Because I did just want to say one thing. I hate it when I see young women who will not say, they'll just go, oh, I'm not feminist. And I'm like, well, okay, do you believe in equal work for equal pay? Because I am a feminist myself. No, do you believe in equal work for equal pay? Well, of course I do. Well, do you believe you should have some medical control of your own decisions about, what you want to do medically? Well, yeah, of course. Well, then you're a feminist. Yeah, what are you saying? No, they've let, and I hate to say, and not that he's the only person, but they've let Rush Limbaugh make feminizing the word.
Yes, where he is reactionary, hypersensitive,
Right.
so no woman wants to associate herself with him.
Right, and so it's a brilliant move. It's a brilliant tactic to make it, right, it's like taking a word and making, redefining it so that, okay, next
I'm a progressive.
And I'll be back on that side, and then we'll close. Dave and then Patty, and then that'll be.
If anybody is not aware of the consequences of what's going on with this backward step that we're all taking, it's affecting the whole world. Because what happens in Congress is Congress controls the money that goes to foreign aid, and a lot of that foreign aid has been used for women's health outside the country. And if I said thousands and thousands of women have been prevented from getting health care because of a few idiotic men in Washington, that would be an understatement. If you have any idea, it would be you should read about it, it's just actually shocking. And the rest of the world is watching as America is telling the rest of the world that if a clinic has anything to do with birth control of any kind, that they're not allowed to receive U.S. funds for women's health care.
I do want to get something straight, y'all, real quick about health department.
They work in the health department, they work in the health department.
I won't leave my time, but I do want to say this, y'all, the health department does provide birth control.
I don't want to say something.
No matter what their income is. If a patient has Medicaid, and that's usually kids under the age of, up to teenage years, like 19, they provide birth control, pap smears, whatever they need. By the time they're 19, they'll have to pay for it, but you can apply for Plan First Medicaid. And Plan First Medicaid will take care of all your birth control based on your income. And really, if the income it can be a pretty high income. So if your job doesn't provide you birth control, which now is not the law that you get birth control now.
Yeah, but it's the low quality, yeah.
Yeah, well, when it comes to the health department, you can get good quality birth control. We have every method. Okay, I'm just saying. Also, y'all, they got very caring, compassionate nurses that are there.
I shouldn't know that.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, they
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Also, y'all.
Just compliment her.
Also, y'all, the health department also has the, what, I hate to call it, they call it the abortion pill, but it's not the abortion pill.
Are you to
Morning after.
They have a morning after pill where you can go there and receive morning after pill. Through the women's clinic. We did have some of our staff that wouldn't work at that clinic because of the, they had to get transferred to other places. But we do offer the morning after pill at the health department. I just wish that more people knew about it because it's not being utilized like we like. We wish that more.
And that they had more funding.
Yeah.
Well, we got the comrades funding, which we're excited about. We did get some extra funds. So we're really excited about that. So, I mean, it's there for anyone who wants to get
Get the
it.
word out sometimes.
Yeah, but we're really not getting the word out that well, and it's because we don't want protesters outside our clinic.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, we're trying really hard.
you guys should be able to get into the school.
All of them.
South Alabama.
But really, the Women's Center on Cox Street, right next to the Women's Center Hospital, they do have it. I mean, you can just walk in and get it. Maybe the other police might have an appointment, but the Women's Center on Cox Street, you can just walk in and have walk-in appointments up there, so you can get it. So,
Okay. I don't see that Bonner's retirement from Congress will make any difference.
Nope.
But they never represented my opinions anyway.
Bonner.
Bonner,
Oh, okay.
he's departing from Congress and joining the USA referendum.
Not USA.
I heard that word.
Not USA.
Patty is gonna go, and then we need to close, because we have a board meeting, and also I want to talk with everybody who is involved with, our upcoming, adult RE classes.
I just wanted to say, I guess I'm one of the fortunate ones. My father wanted to help, my parents raised me, including my father, was one of those men who supported whatever I wanted to do. And it wasn't, well, because you're a girl, you're supposed to do this. In fact, my father pushed me towards the military. Of course, he wouldn't speak to me for 6 months when I went active duty Air Force instead of active duty Army. But my father, I guess was rare in those cases where he actually supported his daughters to be independent and create their own identity and not attach it to another man or even a woman. So I want to give my dad credit for that.
Father's Day coming up soon.
Let's all rise, don't mind. Go ahead. Thank you, Stephanie, for a talk that inspired much. Thank you. We extinguish the flame, the world of community, or fire commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So we Vote free. Vote free.
I'm all for that, I didn't Yeah, we live in a hurricane zone, lovely, you know, we're going to pay our money in, and you're not going to I've never actually, you